Yeah, can't say that doesn't hit home, right? Oh boy. Welcome in, everyone. Robert Imbriali here with SBG News, and you're wondering where the team is. They are in Florida, hands-on today, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I think the big story today is Tina Peters' sentencing. As you saw there, sentenced to 9 years and another 3.5 years of probation after that. Uh, Absolutely crazy. It's interesting because I met her in April of this year and had a chance to chat with her a little bit in person. And, she's an amazing woman. She really is. And to think that somebody like that who's had a life squeaky clean, right? But all of a sudden, blip. I grabbed it this morning as it was live. Took me about 15 minutes or less to get that thing edited and put up there. And I saw people commenting on it that they're happy that she got this punishment. Guys, no, no. If you're on that side, then you're clearly buying the mainstream media narrative and not really understanding what she did. You remember Mike Lindell did the Cyber Symposium, gosh, almost 3 years ago now, and he was going to release what they call PCAP information, and they scared him off, and he didn't release it. That would have given everyone, all the hackers, they had a bunch of hackers there, and they were going to go through it, and they were going to recreate all the traffic that was going in and out of, the voting centers. And they'd be able to figure that out. Well, they blocked it. They scared him away from it. They threatened him. He didn't do it. So ironically, they found Tina Peters. And she had two things. She had a copy of the voting machine before Dominion showed up. And then she made another copy of it, a forensic copy, which means you can't edit, you can't change anything after Dominion left. And she brought that to the Cyber Symposium, and Mike Lindell had a bunch of computer geeks, programmers, hacker types there. And he said, let's go through this. What do you guys notice? And they compared one to the other, and they go, wow, this was completely changed after the certification. Tina Peters, her job is to make sure nothing untoward happens to the voting machines. That was the role she was in. So she was literally doing her job, from as much as we can understand. It looked like to me that she was doing her job. And then they piled on all these charges. And now you see today she's got 9 years in prison. They did not let her leave the courtroom. They had the sheriff take her away and put her right into prison. So she's going to be at the sheriff's, under the sheriff's custody, I think, for 60 days or something before she goes into regular jail. Pending appeal, she'll be in prison pending appeal. So she is right now in prison. I don't know, when it happens to, one of the people that we look up to and say, hey, she stood up for what was right. She saw in Colorado the crazy amount of this morning. He was nasty to her, really nasty to her, unnecessarily so. But, judges are voted in, and, my guess, I don't know, but my guess would be that he benefited from this situation, if you would want to call it that, with the voting machines. He benefited from it in some way at some point, and he may be there and may have not won the election the way you're supposed to. I don't know, but it just seems a little all too convenient, and putting her away for 9 years is just insane. She's 70-something years old. I mean, a Gold Star mom and never been in trouble with the law, and she took this job to help out her country. That's what she was doing. So, yeah, the judge accused her of grandstanding and promoting herself and having no morals and no conscience. And I'm like, where are you coming off with this stuff? And of course, people who watch this, they believe the judge, because the judge is in a position of authority. And when they're in a position of authority, people reach out and they go, well, that must be true. It must be the fact. Why else would the judge say that? I don't know. There are a lot of reasons why a judge might say that, right? We have to recognize that, this is a war. I know people will say, Rob, this is all part of the plan. It's all part of the show. And I'll say this. Some of our people are going to get, taken down. We saw that with Steve Bannon. We saw that with Peter Navarro. We saw that with President Trump. Right, what I mean? And if you're looking at the news this week, where are we? 32 days from the election. I got it wrong yesterday. I want to correct myself. We are actually today 32 days from Election Day. If you're looking at the news, what you're not seeing in the news anywhere is very much at all about the election. That ought to raise some red flags. We're not seeing much about the election. How about Trump's rallies? Hardly being covered. Why? Because all this other stuff is on top of it. It's much bigger news. I think the story that we're focused on, besides today, Tina Peters, which I hope that does not go away, people are going to ask, okay, what can we do now? How do we turn this around? How do we get this person back? How do we get her out of there? Well, there's an appeals process. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith in the courts these days. I really don't. Seeing what I've been seeing since 2020 and how they did not want to hear even one. Nobody wanted to look at it. The receipts were there. The courts turned their back. Supreme Court even didn't want to see anything. They don't want to touch it. It's election stuff. We're not involved. Here we have another one. I think this is, if I look at it this way, it's just a miscarriage of justice. I'm anxious to get Lewis's take on this, and he's not going to be as nice as I am. I'm trying to be calm about it, but it is impactful in sort of not a positive way. And I'm always trying. Okay, how do we be positive about this? What's the positive? What can we see going forward? Right? What's going to happen? Well, if Trump gets elected, then she'll get pardoned, and she won't be in very long. That's probably what'll happen if things go in that direction. If they don't go in that direction, who knows? It's a crapshoot at this point. But one thing I didn't see is I didn't see much rallying around her at that courthouse today. There should have been a lot of people there saying, hey, you can't do this. You can't do this, right? And from what I saw in the videos that I saw, there's nobody there. It's almost like it didn't matter. And this is what got us in this position, is that too many of us said, it doesn't matter. I'm busy. I got things to do. Too many of us didn't go step up and try to, make a stink about something. Because if we push back, enough of us push back, they retreat. They're only in the positions of power because we allow them to be in power, right? You can only control a population who agrees to be controlled. Are we agreeing to it? Well, by non-action, yeah, we pretty much are. So it'll be interesting to see going forward. I saw a protest on the side of the road yesterday. There were 3 people. Okay. It's 3 more than we had the day before. It's a start, right? We got to start seeing this. We've got to see more people get into action, and it will happen. And we're seeing a lot of that in North Carolina right now, where FEMA is literally locking the area down, where people can't get back to their houses, can't look for their loved ones. And there are hundreds of people who have perished in this flooding. And now you ask the question, is FEMA on our side or are they not? Well, it doesn't look like they are. Looks like they've got their own agenda. And they're out of money. We're going to talk about that a little bit later too today. Wow, what a day we have planned for you. All right, before we get into too much news, besides that, I want to talk about our sponsor, Matt Geiger. Really good guy. If you're thinking about investing in gold, you should probably be thinking about it at this point. Boy, I'm ready. This is a new thing with this software. They just updated the software today, and it puts back the shot. Why did it do that? Okay. Anyway, let me put him back up here if I can. No, I can't do it. That's interesting. All right. Let me give you the phone number here so you can see the phone number. Well, it's not letting me do that either. Okay. All right. So the software came out today, but it's apparently got a bug. I can't go back to that shot. Wait a minute. You've already used it. You can't go back again. All right. Funny. Okay, let me give you the phone number is 480-717-9081, or you can visit Verity, Verity metals.com. We may have to go back to before the update so the software works the way it is intended. They've obviously got a bug. I will report the bug after we're done here because they need to know it don't work the way it's supposed to. All right, one other thing I want to let you guys know about is screwbiggov.com. That's where all the information is that is happening right now with the hurricane relief that they are doing down in Florida. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, and you'll find out more about the Unity Tour. There's a Unity Tour button at the top of the page, and I'll talk about donations and stuff like that in a moment. If you want to follow me, I am at renegademedia.tv or at Renegade Media on Telegram, and that's probably the best place to follow me for everything that I'm covering and going on here, because it is a crazy day out there. Crazy day. The energies are just weird. And I think a lot of us are feeling that. If you think about where we are, right, we're the 32 days out. I looked at the 90 days and I said, well, take it in three segments. Phase one is 90 to 60. 60 to 30 would be phase two. 30 to election day would be phase one. And it seems like we're ramping up every phase that we go through. So 90 days out, there was some stuff. 60 days out, a lot more stuff. 30 days out, now we're really starting to see stuff fly, right? There's a deadline. It's a hard-coded deadline, if you will. You'll hear that in television a lot. They'll say, look, I've got a hard out, right? A hard out means there's no flex in the deadline. You go here because the ads have to run, right? So it looks like for us, that's what we've got here. November 5th is it. Somebody was talking about this morning and saying, where we are with the election stuff right now is like, if you think the election system's going to be fixed, there's nothing that'll change between now and election day. It is what it is, and we're going to have to go through it the way we need to go through it. There's a lot of people who are sitting on the sidelines and going, we're just going to wait and see what happens. A lot of people are discouraged and saying, I'm not going to vote. Probably not the best idea. We probably need those votes anyway, even though there's a threat of the election happens. We're going to overwhelm it as much as we can. If the election doesn't happen, then we'll figure out what the next step's going to be. So just look at it from that perspective. There's just a lot of things happening. All right, there's a big story, I think. The other big story, there's like three big stories today. That's about it. There's the hurricane, there's the longshoreman strike, and there's a Tina Peters. And notice there's really nothing much about the election. There was a J.D. Vance, a debate a couple of nights ago. Yeah, it did its thing and it's gone. 24 hours later, it's not in the media cycle anymore, and it's all gone because there's so much more to talk about. All right, let's talk about the strike. The strike is kind of weird. There's messaging coming out now that it's not at all what we're being told. Kind of makes sense, right? You say part of the plan. I'm not going to say that's part of the war. Some battles we're winning, some battles we're not. Some battles we're taking over. So what's really going on over there is, well, number one, I'm going to talk about that in a little while too, is panic buying going on. There are a lot of people just filling up their shopping carts with toilet paper. It is all gone in this area. And we're on the West Coast, which shouldn't be an issue because our stuff comes in from West Coast ports, not the East Coast ports. So if everything comes from China, it's easier to get from, California to China than it is to get from China to New York or North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, or even Texas. Interesting. Anyway, we look at it from that perspective. People are just listening to the news. The news is not clarifying probably, and people are getting confused, and they're a rush on everything. So I told my brother in North Carolina yesterday, he's in the eastern part of North Carolina, so he's perfectly fine. No issues there. I told him yesterday, I said, go out, stock up. So he went out, got some bottled water, got some toilet paper. Boy, that's real important. And canned foods and that kind of thing, because we don't know what's coming. We don't know what's planned. Now, the people in the know, the intuitives of the world, will tell you that it's going to be rough between now and they're saying about February now. Okay, that's not terrible. Yeah, we have some bumps to go through. We all knew it. I mean, this isn't news. This is coming to us because we've been told to expect calamity, chaos, that kind of thing. Remember, the deep state does not want Donald Trump to take power. They do not want that because their goose is cooked if he does. The whole thing falls apart. So they're literally fighting for their lives. And as we get closer, the pressure starts to build. There's going to be more and more chaos. We're seeing new storms developing. And people are like, well, you saw what happened with the last one. And a lot of people are saying, from the information we're hearing, those were directed. Slowed down, directed, steered, however you want to call it, to specific areas. Now, in North Carolina and Asheville, they apparently had 10 inches of rain before the hurricane came. So everything was already soaking wet and saturated, where the ground couldn't absorb much more water. Then they said when the hurricane came, because it stalled over there, hurricanes, when they stall, they just keep dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping, right? Normally they just keep going. This one stalled. And they said it dumped between 20 and 40 inches of rain. Let's translate that to snow so you get an idea. So 1 inch of rain equals about 10 inches of snow. So 40 inches of rain would be 400 inches of snow, just to give you some visual on what that might look like. Well, in the mountains, all that comes off the mountains and goes into the valleys where the towns are and wipes everything out. Where highways were, there's 20-foot ravines now. Yeah, no surprise, right? You put that much water into an area that never gets flooded. A lot of people are saying, well, those people in North Carolina there, they don't have flood insurance because it doesn't flood. It's a little bit like having snowstorm insurance in Florida. It's probably not going to snow in Florida. You don't care about it, right? So that's one of the things that we're seeing there. So, we know that the chaos is going to continue. It's going to get worse. And the things you're seeing from FEMA, and I've been posting them. If you want to follow that narrative, Renegade Media on Telegram. I've been posting the videos and posting the things as we're finding them. And there's so much. I was talking to Phoebe about an hour before we went live here today. And I said, how do I cover all of this stuff? There's stuff coming at us from so many different angles. And there's new stuff every 15 minutes. Literally. If I talk about this, well, there's something that advanced that story a little bit further. So we're doing the best we can. We're not a news organization. We don't have a whole team of people. The team is me. I'm the team doing the news right now. That's it, just me. So I'm doing the best I can with it. But there's so much to be told. All right. So the ports are on strike. 45,000 people on the East Coast ports, I think all the way up from New Hampshire down to Texas. All those ports are ostensibly closed. They were banned for life. Took a while to train new ones and replace them all. Sure, but we had the Army was running it for quite some time, from what I understand. So this kind of has that feeling, doesn't it, where he's bringing in National Guard. National Guard can operate the cranes. They can drive the trucks. Maybe things can keep moving, because he's right. Before very long, you're going to have all these ships stranded at sea, because they're coming over from overseas, right? They're coming over from China. They're coming over from Korea. They're coming over from Germany. All the countries, the European countries, are coming over to the East Coast. And if they can't get unloaded, well, that's going to create quite the backlog, isn't it? It's going to be a mess out there. And these companies have to keep paying for fuel, because those ships, the generators, giant generators, need to keep running to keep power on the ship, to keep heat on the ship, to make it so they can cook and shower and whatever else they need to do, and also keep the ship from running aground. And then you got to pay the employees, the staff, as you're just sitting at sea waiting for your turn to come in. Okay, so this is interesting. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And then I'm starting to see other reports saying the strike isn't at all what we think it is. I thought, well, that's interesting, because I think, let's be clear here, right? Everything that's going on, there's another story to it. There's another piece to it. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. So again, think of the ocean analogy, right? We're seeing what's on the surface, but there's a whole bunch of things going on beneath the surface that we have no idea about. The white hats, the gray hats, the red hats, right? The black hats, we don't know. We still have questions. Are there even white hats? Are there even gray hats? Are there even black hats? Is it just globalists? Is it, right? So we have a lot of questions because we're not seeing the full picture yet. We keep looking for it. I'm looking for it. I bet you're looking for it too. Boy, I wish I could bring it to you. Man, that would make my day if I could tell you, this is everything that's going on. And we know it for a fact but I can't do that. So now we look at the strike and we say, okay, is there more to the strike? Well, apparently there is. Look at this. This is from SG Anon. SG may be able to join us on Saturday. We're trying to work that out. So SG posts multiple first-hand accounts and a recent governor's order, Ron DeSantis, Florida, which we just played for you, suggests that the U.S. Army National Guard detachments across East and Southeast USA seaboards are being deployed to and taking administrative and dispensation control and possession of what are now formally U.S. corporation ports. Well, that would be interesting. What does that mean? Well, the U.S. corporation, we know, what we've been living under for years and years and years now is bankrupt. We know that the ports are controlled by the corporation. We know that the ports are controlled by NATO, the UN, right? Could this really be what's going on behind the scenes? Is it a takeover, getting those guys out? Think about this, though, right? So you've got all these workers. They're out now. They're striking. They want a 77% increase in salary. They're not going to get it. But they're striking. They're not there. And you bring in the National Guard behind them to take over. Now it's starting to make a little bit of sense, right? There's a couple of pieces here that kind of like, oh, this kind of makes sense. I don't know. I can't tell you for a fact that this is exactly what's happening. I wish I could. But I've seen this now. 4 different people have posted it. SG is always very reliable in his research. And, bringing it up to you like this is like, okay, maybe there's something to this. We're going to have to watch. It'd be interesting because that would mean what? That would mean that we might be winning. Right? Remember, it's a war. Win some, lose some. This may be a battle we win. Maybe, instead of the ports being shut down, they're now being controlled by National Guard. And they start running them again. There's no shortages. A hell of a time to have a shortage during hurricane recovery. I don't know. It has promise. I will keep watching. And you guys, by the way, if you have anything, please, Robert at renegademedia.tv, send it my way. I don't care if I've already seen it. And a lot of times, I've seen so much that maybe I have seen it. So what? Send it anyway. You think something's of interest? You think you found something? You've stumbled across something? Send it our way. Who knows? Maybe it is something I hadn't seen before. I know I see a lot, but I don't see all. Right? So anything you can do to help, that would be tremendously appreciated. All right. FEMA.
For migrants.
So they spent over $1 billion, FEMA, on migrant camps, processing stations, supporting all these illegal migrants. And now what are we told? I'm sorry, Americans, your tax dollars, we already spent them. We gave them to the illegals. We invested there. We don't have any money for you in the hurricane stuff. No worries. That's what we're being told, literally. I don't know. If that doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what does, right? So the question now is, if they don't have any money, does that really play into this idea that the U.S. corporation is literally bankrupt and it's over? Now, I know I'm going to mention Benjamin Fulford. I know you guys don't like him. Some of you love him. Some of you don't. I'm kind of in the middle. Some of the stuff is good. Some of it, who knows? But he said, October 1st, U.S. corporation is bankrupt. Now, they play games to keep it going, the continuing resolutions. They don't let the government shut down, yada, yada. They play those games. They print more money. That can only go on for so long. Maybe what we're seeing here is another sign that U.S. Corp is really bankrupt. Interesting. So what's going on up there in North Carolina? What's going on for the rescue? They are not allowing civilians in. They're telling them they will be arrested if they go in and rescue people. We're hearing stories of maybe as many as 1,200 perished up there. And, there was a story of a sheriff that personally put 1,200 people in body bags. That would be a Herculean effort. You don't know. A very heavy thing, and you're not going to move 1,200 of them. You may even move 10 before you burn out. So I don't know that story has any validity, but we've been hearing it, and we've been hearing that they had 500 body bags. They used them all. We've been hearing all kinds of stories. Hard to get the truth in a situation like that because the communication is really bad up there. Still, they're getting the satellite dishes in. The Starlinks are getting in there, but they take a while to receive them and then set them up. And where do you set them up? And what's the password? Anybody got the Wi-Fi password? The normal stuff that goes on with that kind of thing. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We want to know what's happening. We want to really figure out what the deal is with all of it. And I think we're going to find out that it's very much the same as Maui. Really. Or the Paradise Fire, even earlier than that, here in California. One road in, one road out. Town completely burned. Everything burned. And there wasn't much of a reaction. There wasn't much of a reaction for Maui either. It's them. They're over there. It's 5.5 hours by air from Los Angeles. So far away. It's so far offshore. And now it's in our backyard. Now it's in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. Same kind of deal going on. Is it a land grab? Are they really after the lithium and the crystals that make the silicon chips? Maybe. Time will tell. We will figure it out eventually. There are people being told not to go back and that they will not be given building permits to rebuild. Really? Nothing wrong with that area, by the way. This is the first time ever that they've had flooding like this. This is historic. Not natural either. There's nothing about this that rings natural to me. All right. Speaking more about hurricanes, this is the hurricane crew. This is our group. That's why Lewis isn't here right now. Where is he? Well, there he is right there at the back of that, and his wife is in front of him. And Gina and Doug and Alan and Bruce Poppy, Christine Geiger, Carol Maureen Friesen, Michelle Shao. Those are the ones I recognize. There's a couple there I don't know yet, but I'll get to meet them, I'm sure. So they're in Florida, hands-on today. They've handed out everything that they received and bought a whole bunch of supplies and water and food. And today they're literally hands-on. This is what it looked like when they went to Home Depot. I think this was yesterday afternoon.
Check out at Home Depot.
So yeah, they went to pick up a bunch of things, and then today we saw Lewis tearing out a wall in a house, helping out. Okay, so why did we tear down the walls? Why is that so important there in Florida? Because anything that got wet, that got salt water in it or rainwater in it and is wet will start to create mold within 2 days. Mold will start to grow. Mold is really dangerous, especially black mold, right? Especially older walls that have been there. Maybe there's already mold. Maybe they because mold could be with you get a tiny little pinhole leak in a pipe or something. You get too much humidity. The wall's not built correctly. It doesn't ventilate the way it should. There could already be mold there. So they're wearing masks just to be sure, because mold is something you really don't want to play with. Okay. People have been asking about what do they need, and here is the list. If you go to screwbigov.com and you click on the Unity Tour, there's a drop down there that'll bring you to this page, and it'll say donations. And this is the list of things they need. So they're looking for dehumidifiers, storage bins, large and small, gasoline cans, industrial garbage cans, heavy-duty trash bags, N95 masks. They're apparently harder to get now. So you could purchase some stuff on Amazon or another vendor. It doesn't have to be Amazon. Could be anybody that you like to work with. And there is the address. Ship all supplies to 3115 Adrian Avenue, Largo, Florida, 33774. Let me just put that a little larger for you. 3115 Adrian Avenue, Largo, Florida, 33774. And you could just put, as the name, just put donations, and that's all you need to do. And they'll receive it, and they'll hand it out as needed there. So I'll leave that address up for a moment. They are working really hard to put together the event for Saturday. So they'll be on boots on the ground tomorrow as well. I'm sure they're tired. Maybe that's why Lewis didn't come in today, because tearing walls down, boy, that takes a lot of physical energy. And maybe they're just recovering, and it's fine. They're doing what they need to do to help out as much as they can down there, buying supplies, receiving donations, going to the stores, getting stuff, distributing the stuff, and actually today helping out empty the houses. We showed you the videos yesterday of all the furniture on the side of the road. Well, what's that about? Well, because you don't want stuff to mold in the house, you got to literally empty the whole house. So I saw videos of them taking apart televisions and CD players and DVD players and throwing it all out. It all got damaged. Once it gets wet, it's over, right? So, there's a lot of that to do. They are taking pictures off the walls. You've got paintings and stuff. They got wet. They go. Tearing the walls down because you need the walls to dry. You got to get it right to the studs so it dries up. And then from there, we can talk about rebuilding at some point at a later time. So you can't live in those houses. Those houses are totally damaged. And, it's lesser damage there from what we see than what we saw in North Carolina. North Carolina and Asheville, there are no houses, right? There's a whole town that was wiped out completely. There's just razed. There's like nothing left. So nothing to rebuild, nothing to clean up. It's just, a different situation, but tough just the same. So we're keeping an eye on the port strike. longshoremen. We want to see what goes on there. If this is really a takeover for the good guys, that would be magnificent. If the ports are not closed for more than a week, we'll be okay. We probably won't even notice very much of a disruption in the supply chain. When it goes into 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then we're going to have to start to have problems. So if, DeSantis has done this and what SG is saying is true, then, we're in good shape. And I'm not that upset about that at all. All right. What else do I have for you here? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, the Tampa event. Got to tell you about the Tampa event that's coming up this Saturday. I'm working to get SGN on there. He was asking a bunch of questions this morning, so we'll see if we can finagle it, arrange it. He won't be live in person, I don't believe. I think he'll be able to Zoom in, but they'll be able to play it. I will be hosting the Zoom call. Or I should say the live stream of it. So you'll see me here. They didn't put me on the poster, but I am there. I should be one of the hosts up the top, but no big deal. Those are the speakers. We got quite a few great speakers coming up. 2 of them I'm going to interview tomorrow, and they will be pre-recorded interviews only because their schedules didn't match. But you want to find out more, screwbiggov.com/Tampa. If you're going to be in the area, please show up. There's no cost. Tickets are free. And there's an after party. You can see that at the very bottom with Silverback, and it's from 8 to 11, and they're charging just $33, which includes $50 of autographed SBG swag. So they're offsetting the cost there really nicely. So that is really exciting. That's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be early for me. I will have to start broadcasting at like 6 in the morning here, West Coast time. I can do it. No problem. Means I probably need to be up at 4 because I don't wake up that quick. Joey, I need some coffee in that early in the morning. And I know what you need. Yes, I need my own poster. Right, I'll make my own poster. Very good, Missy. I appreciate that. Oh, I love our team. I love the people we work with. It's so much fun. And I love and appreciate all of you. I want you to, I'll leave you with this. It's going to get hard. There are going to be some days that are going to be harder than others. Today's a little bit harder for me because of the Tina Peters thing, knowing her personally, and that's a hard pill to swallow. But we've got to find everything we can to keep our heads up, right? Because we don't want to get down on this. We don't want to let them win because we're depressed. When we're depressed, when we're sad, when we're not fully functional, we're easier to manipulate, easier to control. So we don't want that. We want to stay strong. So find things that you can grab onto, the littlest things, the easiest things that make you, feel better. Whether it's a meal, whether it's some music, maybe it's go for a walk. We've got a 20-acre property here, so I'll be going for a walk after I'm done. Go outside for a little bit, change my mind. I've been looking at all this stuff all day, and time for a little break. You got to do that. You really got to take a break from it because it is intense. And I haven't even gone into, a lot of the things that I've been finding. There's just so much out there. I don't even know where to begin with some of it. It's like, well, how do I present this story without spending 20 minutes on the backstory so you understand this one little nuance that just happened today? And sometimes it's like, well, you can't do it. But I just tell you, there's a lot going on. There's more going on behind the scenes or beneath the surface than you and I will ever be privy to. So just, have faith that we're going to get there. We're going to get to the other side. And it is up to us to keep our vibration high. That is exactly what they do not want. So you got to find a way to stay strong in the face of it all. We're here. We're a group. We're a team. All of us are on the same team. I don't look at myself as being any better than anybody who watches this. And part of it, we're all the same. And you'll know that if you ever meet me in person. It's like, no ego about this. I just do it because this is what is needed right now. And we're going to keep bringing you what we can. And if something really big happens, my studio is now set up that I can go live in as little as 15 minutes, maybe even shorter than that. Just getting everything booted up is the only thing that takes time, and I'll be able to go live real quick if something happens that we need to talk about. So just keep an eye on your notifications. If you're following our Renegade Media channel on Rumble or Screw Big Gov on Rumble, you will get notifications when we go live. Just pay attention to those, but we'll try to keep it at 6 o'clock Eastern every day, and I'll be back tomorrow with that. And then Saturday, we will be broadcasting all day the Tampa event, the finale to the interrupted Unity Tour. So I look forward to doing that. Guys, love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every one of you. You make it possible for us to do what we do, and of course, we wouldn't do it without you. So go out there, make it a great